This is Daf Chaf Aleph of the Daf Yom Yerushalmi, and we started Daf Chaf Aleph. We did the Maimer of Rabbi Yochanan, or the story about Rabbi Yochanan about when he put which film he put on when, and we're up to the fourth line, Vein Osim Shum Erva, and the Moshe points out Lo Shayach Mil Sahacha. This statement is not directly relevant here. Because Shitas Yeshkan is so it's got switched up. Because he will come there should be afterwards. Beside the Kamar, we cut have enough mask have a yaving lane. But okay, with any event, we'll learn it here because this is where it is. The Einosim Shum Erva is not also to wear tefillin the base on merachotz. In other words, it seems like Rabbi Yochanan wear them all the time. Lo zoyin mimei, right? They were never Levitin zoyin minei. So what about when he went to the base on merachotz? He went to the bathhouse. So Amar B'chia Bar Abba, if Krisin Hayolovesh mi bifnim. So he would wear some sort of garment when he was inside, and obviously the next one has to be first, like the Pei Moshe said. So let's just say do it now. When he went to get to the base of merchotz, he would remove when you get to the bathhouse attendant, he'll remove them. So that's the Pei Moshe says. When he went to base of merchotz and his tefillin was on him, so Lyrin ayot Klomar, meaning the place where the bathhouse attendants stand and take the people's clothing. They can address that. That's where he used to take them off there. This and again, just going to go to the name Moshe here. Rabbi Yitzchak Ad Yaakov to Musa Lovshan. When until he got to Yaakov to Musa, he would wear them. When he would come out, they would give of the bathhouse to give it him. When they used to bring them Amar Dom Mills, he would say the following words. But let's see, Pnei Moshe till here. So Ad Yaakov to Musa Lovshan Shebayis Samach Merchotz. Yaakov to Musa's house was right next to Merchotz. The Shomel Lovshan Shetzachar Mikomish Merchotz. Well, he wait till he got out, not to the bathhouse, but until he got out of the entire domain of the bathhouse. Even though he would take him out already in the bathhouse by the Ulayrin, on the way out, he would wait to put him on until he got to pay the house of Yaakov to Musa. And he says, the Messiah, begin Rabbi Yaakov Ad Yaakov to Musa Lovshan. He didn't get. He would put until Yaakov to Musa. He would wear them. In other words, he would not put them back on until he got to the house of Yaakov to Musa. Now here it says, now we should put in because the sort of the part of Eino Asim Shum Erva. What about the fact that it's also ever the Mashi Yachi Yotem in the Chotz Haynosin at Tefillin? So he said even when he would kind of sounds like here the way the Moshe understands it, immediately when he came out of the bathhouse, they would give him tefillin, even though he was still undressed. He still had it says Kavanafka Maischi have a yoyev lebilay. So the Mashi Yachi Yotem in the Chotz Haynosin at Tefillin. But I don't know he's still naked. You put on some sort of robe. Before he went out. Interrupt between his heart and the erva, and it's something which covers the bottom part of the body. So if it's open the shoulders. You tie it on your shoulder. It's kind of like an apron. So therefore, it has a belt around the middle, which is mafsik between the lave and the erva, and then you put it on and tie it around your shoulder on top. So now let's go back to the Gemara itself. After May Moshe changed around the lines for us, but kind of have again, it should be the way May Moshe is reading it. It should be Kavazi Mastake should be against the line here. Chotzon. Rabbi Yitzchak at the Musa to sorry, kind of have enough Maske Havu Yavin Lay. And then, even though they gave it to him, Rabbi Yitzchak Yaakov Musa Yalovshan, he didn't put him on until Yaakov to Musa. And then the Gemara asked, it's not as good as Shumerva, and during that time before he was dressed, Rabbi Chibarabba, first he would put on this kind of apron thing in order to cover himself because of the erva. The truth is, though, it's a little bit difficult what the Pnei Moshe is saying that Farskin has mafsik bin aleva and shen erva, because after all, he's not actually putting them on until he gets to Yaakov to Musa's house, according to the Pnei Moshe. So I think a Farskin is not necessarily something where it's right, like Pnei Moshe says, and like Berachos Orach says, that had to have some hefsek between the top and the bottom. He just had to cover himself off. Cover himself up. And that's the way it was constructed. Anyway, when he would kind of have a meisenlei, have a amar ha milsa. The truth is, maybe now I'm thinking out loud, and he would say, because he'd say Torah, and he had to be mafskichin leiv and erva. That's probably the case. That's what made Moshe had to learn that way, because he would say the following Torah. There were two Aronos which went to Haisol in the Midbar. Aronos Shechayel Amim is the Aron of the life of the world, the Kodesh Baruch Hu, Aronos Shel Yosef, and the Aron of Yosef at Tzadi. The nations would say, hello, what's going on with these two Aronos? So you saw Amen, the Jews would say, Lohem to them, Aronos Shel Yosef, Aronos Shechayel Amim. This is the Aron of Yosef, this is the Aron of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the non-Jews would taunt the Jews. When they said, is it possible that the two Aronos, one of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, one of Yosef, were going together? So said, since Yosef was Mishamer, everything which it says in the Torah, then therefore he was the Torah was able to go together, and as it's also in the Bavli and Saita, as it says on the side of the Gemara. So V'lama hu Amar Damilsa. Why was he saying these words? Well, he didn't wait till he got out of the bathhouse. He put on the Sulairin, and then he quickly said these words. So Amrechina begin the Meimar Mila Doraisa. He wanted to say words of Torah. You know, Yechon wouldn't go 4 hours without the tefillin and Torah. So evidently, if he couldn't do tefillin, so he would do Torah. Perhaps he'd do both all the time as much as he could. And here, since he didn't go to tefillin, he would just do Torah, but he wanted to not go without saying Torah. He didn't have anything else to say. This is the only divator he had. Ella, so why specifically these words of Torah? El Ketun Hava Lomar. So he says, Moshe says, he was rebuking the people who brought him the tefillin. I'll show you how Rov Machrin Milavilo. They would tarry from being tefillin because they were distracted by people who came to the bathhouse. Basically, Omar concludes, Yosef Lozov Lamachos Aidesh Shimer B'Chulei. L'chol Chavod Hazeh She'osim L'Chavod HaTorah El Aidesh Shamar Mitzvah Shal Kodesh Baruch Hu. In other words, we didn't get all this covenant except by Shmiras HaMitzvos. V'atin Boyel Mitzvah Mevatla Mitzvah Samidan. You're trying to be about the mitzvah, you're not being it quickly enough. So Haredim has a totally different interpretation. He says, have Yavin and they put game tefillin, have have Maisi Lu have a Mali Fnei Goyim Rabbi Masher Sham. Sorry, I'm Merchatz. Kano Gam Hayom Mixas Mekabis. It was a mixed bathhouse because Jews and non-Jews, and he wanted to say from the Goyim which are there. And what he said is El Kitur and Shavina Goyim Shegoznim Shmara Mitzvos. That he's rebuking the Goyim, that they understand that that they should not be declaring the Shmara and the mitzvahs, and evidently part of it was examined not to put on tefillin. It's a little bit difficult to understand, but that's what, as you will see in a moment, that's how he interprets the line. Which is coming up. Could have a lomar. Yosef losomar was like they should shimmer mitzvaysav shakush bochu. The Gemara says Yosef only merited kingship because he preserved mitzvah Hashem. And all the honor, all the dignity which we have is because we kept the mitzvah Kodesh Baruch Hu. And you want to be able to cancel, negate our observance of the mitzvahs. So according to Chareim, he's telling the non-Jews who are guys on tefillin. How can you be guys on tefillin? This is inappropriate. I think Moshe is more smooth, who says that he's talking to the Balonim. He's saying, how can you tarry with being my tefillin? It's a very important thing for me to have. Okay, Beis, it's in the sense of a new issue. Beis inside of Mavarach Aleim. How do you make the brachos on tefillin? Rabbi Yitzchak Moshe Rabbi Yaakov, when he puts it to Yad, Ma Omer, he say, Baruch Hashem Hashem Mitzvah, I'll have tefillin. Obviously, very different than our minhag today. But perhaps this is the most important chiddush of Yerushalmi. Yerushalmi says when he takes them off, Omer Baruch Hashem Hashem Mitzvah L'Shmor Chukav. So the Yerushalmi also make a bracha when you take up tefillin as well. The nusach of the beginning of the first bracha is, the main thing is they should be differentiated. So a niyach tefillin and mitzvah tefillin, like the minhag is. So that could be that's not, the Yerushalmi doesn't argue. Yerushalmi just says the main thing is to distinguish between the brachas to make that they shouldn't be exactly the same bracha. But it's certainly a chiddush that you may say a bracha when you take off tefillin. Why this specific bracha? Ask him, man, it's going like your opinion which holds b'chukas tefillin hakosim medaber. It's Moshe says shamartas chukah azos b'gomer the miyamim yamil ksiv v'loleilos. It says during the day and not at night. By the chukah hilkam mevarech lishmor chukav. So therefore, you make a bracha to preserve Hashem's chukim shu chotzon when you move them b'sofayim at the end of the day. In other words, this bracha refers to the chok refers to tefillin. The bracha is how we watch your tefillin. Don't wear them at times when it's inappropriate to wear them. So that makes sense. That will work with the opinion that holds that the pasuk about the law of tefillin. According to the opinion that's going on the law of Pesach, lo b'dah, it would not apply. It does not be appropriate. Okay, so that's going to the Yerushalmi does not give an alternative, but it says that would not be the appropriate. Would not be appropriate bracha. Avraham Hashem Abelazar said, "No sin tefillin b'layla. Somebody puts on tefillin at night over about say. He violates the mitzvah saying matam. Why? Because he's in the pasuk is going on tefillin. You should keep this mitzvah at the appropriate time, which is yamim yamima during the days. Yomei v'lo leilos. Yamima. So there's an extra word here. Obviously, it says yamim and then yamima. Yamima prat l'shabbos is yamim tovim. This precludes Shabbos and Yom Tov when the mitzvah of tefillin does not apply. Rabbi Avo Yossi Masni Beramsha. What about Rabbi Avo? He was sitting and learning at night with tefillin aloyvi and still wears tefillin. And tefillin, which just says lavs on tefillin, and it's evidently a lack of shmirah of the mitzvah to wear it at night because maybe you fall asleep, because maybe you're going to pass gas, whatever the case may be. So Gemara says, "Mitzadin hava." He wasn't. They weren't directly on him. They were on his head, like sideways, and they were therefore not b'makom tefillin. So it wasn't any kind of mitzvah at that moment. That way, they were like something which he's holding for safeguarding, and not something which he's actually doing for the mitzvah. Ismay Meimar lo amar ela hanoisin. But there's others who say, and this is also in the Bible, that it's only a problem to put on the tefillin at night if you weren't wearing them previously. And you'll love me, but Yom, but he was wearing them before nightfall. Then mutar, he's allowed to keep them on. Easter boy nishmani me'ador. Those who want to ride the plural tefillin from Shabbos and Yom Tov and the following pasuk. V'yolachol os. You need the tefillin should be for os. Eshu lachol os. It's when you need those, right? When you need to have those, as opposed to probably Yom Tov Shabbos Shekul Os, right? The Osi Beini. So this is the day of Shabbos. The day of Yom Tov is an Os. You don't need to have tefillin on as well. So v'lo kain ksiv yamim yamima. So lo kain cause yamim. Don't we already know this drasha from yamim yamima, right? And that's we're learning that yamim yamima tells us to preclude Shabbos and Yom Tov. So the Gemara says El Kaidem Rabbi Yochanan. I don't think it's in the Bavli anywhere, but there's a very basic story from the Yerushalmi. El Kaidem Rabbi Yochanan, like Rabbi Yochanan said, Kom Yadlo Mechavra, anything which is not explicit in the Torah, but you wanted to write from Sukkim. We bring a lot of sources. In other words, it's like the shotgun approach, right? Each source in itself is difficult to accept as a definitive, but then we bring a lot of sources, and then when we have so many sources, so we assume that this is the case. In order, it's not that we're deriving them from the sources, right? But we need it in order to sustain the halacha which we're trying to teach. Tamatim, we'll learn that Nashu Avodim Ptuim Kriya Shema Minat Tefillin. It's a Mishnah says teaches us that women and slaves are exempt from Kriya Shema and from Tefillin. Nashi Minayin, how do you know the women are exempt? So it says Limata Mosamas Nechem Belos Minot. It says you should teach your sons, which means are your daughters. And it says after people are required to learn Torah, required to learn to put on Torah. Women who are not required to learn Torah, say they're not required to put in tefillin. So ask my Ray Michal Bas Kushi. Michal Bas Kushi was the daughter of Shaul HaMelech. So it says, so Levesh is tefillin. She would put on tefillin, even though she was exempt. I saw Golim, and the wife of Yonah would go up to Lila Regel, even though she's exempt. Lila Regel is a mitzvah to say Shasman Grama. And Chachamim not protest them. Because Sheva said, historical machlokes. Sheva said, Isha Hushva, the wife of Yonah was turned back from Lila Regel. And Micha Bas Kushi, Micha B'Yodei Chachamim. And Micha Bas Kushi, the Chachamim did protest. They did not they're not allowed her to put on tefillin. The Ribaz says here, he says, the Mefarshim explained Kushal, like we said, that she was turned back, but he says, ain't no move on. You understand that? You have to say the Micha by both. So he wants to say the Perush Hushim, what you see, Yerushalmi Berachos, Dusha Kamo Hushvu. They agreed, and evidently agreed the way the Rebbe says that they didn't turn it back. There was no prohibition or no public policy issue for women to go out the other regel, but they agreed she was not required to go up. Like a pluk lo go al zeh. So as a matter of fact, they didn't argue on her, meaning they didn't protest her. They didn't argue that it was okay for her to come. But by Baskushi, no, they argued with her, and the Chachamim did not allow her to continue putting on tefillin, and probably because it's still gufnaki, and many women don't have a gufnaki, so therefore they did not want there to be precedent to require women or even encourage women to put on tefillin.